Hey everyone, welcome back to A Proverb a Day Keeps the Police Away. I'm Robert, and today we are diving into Proverbs chapter 16. We are officially over halfway here. This chapter is all about how our plans and our paths are shaped by the choices we make, and how sometimes what looks like a great idea is actually a temptation in disguise. In recovery, we've got to stay aware of the choices that we're making because not every shortcut leads to a better place. So let's get right into it here. Proverbs chapter 16. Mortals make elaborate plans, but God has the last word. Humans are satisfied with whatever looks good, but God probes for what is good. Put God in charge of your work. Then what you've planned will take place. God made everything with a place and a purpose. Even the wicked are included, but for judgment. God can't stomach arrogance or pretense. Believe me, He'll put those braggarts in their place. Guilt is banished through love and truth. Fear of God deflects evil. When God approves of your life, even your enemies will end up shaking your hand. Far better to be right and poor than to be wrong and rich. We plan the way we want to live, but only God makes us able to live it. A good leader motivates, doesn't mislead, doesn't exploit. God cares about honesty in the workplace. Your business is His business. Good leaders abhor wrongdoing of all kinds. Sound leadership has a moral foundation. Good leaders cultivate honest speech. They love advisors who tell them the truth. An intemperate leader wreaks havoc in lives. You're smart to stay clear of someone like that. Good-tempered leaders invigorate lives. They're like a spring rain and sunshine. Get wisdom. It's worth more than money. Choose insight over income every time. The road of right living bypasses evil. Watch your step and save your life. First pride, then the crash. The bigger the ego, the harder the fall. It's better to live humbly among the poor than to live it up among the rich and famous. It pays to take life seriously. Things work out when you trust in God. A wise person gets known for insight. Gracious words add to one's reputation. True intelligence is a spring of fresh water, while fools sweat it out the hard way. They make a lot of sense, these wise folks. Whenever they speak, their reputation increases. Gracious speech is like clover honey, good taste to the soul, quick energy for the body. There's a way that looks harmless enough, but look again. It leads straight to hell. Appetite is an incentive to work. Hunger makes you work all the harder. Mean people spread mean gossip. Their words smart and burn. Troublemakers start fights. Gossips break up friendships. Calloused climbers betray their very own friends. They'd stab their own grandmothers in the back. A shifty eye betrays an evil intention. A clenched jaw signals trouble ahead. Gray hair is a mark of distinction, the award for a God-loyal life. Moderation is better than muscle. Self-control better than political power. Make your motions and cast your votes, but God has the final say. And friends, that's the end of the chapter today here. Proverbs 16 really emphasizes that while we may plan our ways, it's ultimately our integrity that guides us along the way. The verse, "There is a way that appears to be right, but in the end it leads to death," reminds us that temptation often looks good at first, but then leads us down this dangerous path. In recovery, this means we have to be extra cautious about the choices that seem easy or harmless because they often carry hidden consequences. The thought of the day: are the choices you're making today aligned with your long-term goals, or are they just feeding into some short-term desires that you have? In recovery, temptation often shows up in the form of quick fixes or shortcuts, but the real growth comes from making the harder, wiser choices. It's easy to convince ourselves that certain temptations are harmless, but the reality is every choice we make either leads us toward or away from our recovery goals. Stay focused today on the long game. Quote of the day: "The path to success is to take massive, determined action," by Tony Robbins. In recovery, success doesn't come from shortcuts or half measures. It's about making the determined choice to keep going, even when that temptation tries to pull us off course. Massive action means being intentional about our decisions every single day. Picture this. You're hanging out with some old friends who still drink, and they say, "Hey, come on down. One drink ain't gonna hurt." And you're tempted because it feels harmless in the moment. But deep down, you know that one drink is gonna lead somewhere you don't wanna go. Proverbs 16 is kind of like that inner voice that's saying, "Don't do it. It's better to stay on the path of wisdom and avoid the setback that would come from that choice." So, what's one decision that you've made recently that seemed like a good idea at the time, but then turned out to be a temptation in disguise? How did you get back on track? Share your story in the comment section. I'd always love to hear it. And friends, that's it for today's proverb. I appreciate you guys tuning in for another episode of A Proverb a Day Keeps the Police Away. If today's chapter got you thinking about how you handle temptation, hit the like button on this episode, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment in the comment section. I always love to hear how you're staying strong on your path in recovery. So be sure to join me tomorrow for the next chapter, and I will see you then.